be on the fucking TV. What?
Hey everyone, feels great to have you back. Son, did y'all hear about that Arasaka aircraft carrier docked in Night City called Kujira or the Whale? Apparently the Corps figured it wasn't safe in Japanese waters. Afraid some local fishermen might harpoon it for scientific research. But honestly, it's quite the power move. Wonder what Militech will respond with. Maybe Myers will fly a Rust Bucket B-17 Flying Fortress over Arasaka HQ. Oh, man, that is insensitive. I am so sorry. Where are my manners? President Myers, I mean, of course. Gotta respect the office. Anywho.
They literally leave you right where you left off.
Let's have a look.
Fuck, the cigarette keep lighting back up. Turn it on, put it up.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
That's why dude said good luck if it's your first time playing, man. I see the one they're gonna do shit. What's up, guys? Never do it.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
that little tag.
Thanks
right
a lot.
there. Confused the hell out of me. Stupid. What's up, Connor? Fire McDonald. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, Connor. I just seen that. Yup. Raider Nation, huh? Motherfucker told me they farted in there. Anybody ever played this game, or y'all like playing video games or whatnot? These motherfuckers over here working on shit.
Virtuosos and theatrical performances in the No tradition. The sponsor for the festival is the Arasaka Corporation. And Marco Arasaka has announced her participation in the Dashi Parade. From all of us at WNA.
Traveling around Night City. Gotcha. Holy shit, this is crazy looking. I like this. It's like Grand Theft Auto City in a way, but with the graphics, but a bigger, well, like in the future, more futuristic, I say. Her eyes are completely black. There's like cyborg people that got like futuristic plants put on their shit so that they can survive, like I think after they died or something. They were showing me.
Okay, you were saying...
So? Man of the hour.
Yeah, I've been playing
Took
these
you long
games a
enough.
lot lately.
Worked up an appetite. Sit down, let me finish this. Then we can drop in on Senor Vector.
Talk to Jackie. Why they did that?
Mentioned something about a surprise yesterday. Am I remembering right, or just had a brain fart?
Probably both, because you usually forget shit. But it just so happens, I think I might have bagged us a sweet-ass J.O.B.
Go on.
I mean, maybe it's not as big as that, but just that he's fronted by a little-known someone named Dexter Deshawn. Only the top fixer in Night fucking City. Fat-ass black Jesus of the afterlife. 300 pounds of partly gold-plated coup.
Thought Dex bounced out of the ring a few years ago. Messed with the nasty crew in Pacifica. Things got ugly.
Mm-hmm. Gang wars 2 years back. Somehow Dex got caught up in the craziness. There's a lot of bodies lying in the streets by the time the shooting stopped. Yeah, Dex got lucky, though. Managed to slip under the radar till tempers cooled. Took a while, but he's made one hell of a comeback.
This is it, Jackie. Our break. Dex needs friends, needs us. We can use them.
Amen. It's a win-win.
So what's the gig? We meant to come out in one piece?
Our Lord and Savior wants to tell you everything himself, face to face. Oh, no pressure, but this whole deal is riding on you now, is it?
Why do I gotta go? You and T-Bug draw straws without me?
T-Bug and Dex go way back, and my face is yesterday's news. Oh, Dex says he needs to check you, talk to you. Look, V, it's his job, his rules. I can't blame him for taking a personal approach. And it ain't as bad as you think, okay? Trust me.
Guess I got no choice then.
Dex is a real deal when it comes to fixers. Don't get me wrong. Don't got nothing against the Padre or Wakako, but Dex is in a league of his own. That's it.
Don't get me started on fixers. They catch a client, find the cheapest gun to do the job, then drop their corpse at a landfill.
Shit. Hit the nail on the head, V. Gracias a Dios.
Thanks, Jack. Much appreciated.
Some top-notch work Miguel did. Rides like it looks. Factory new.
We'll see about that.
So we rolling or what?
Let's feel this factory new ride.
First stop. Ripper Dock and Holmes. Easy on the gas, huh? I just ate. I was supposed to stop by Vic's anyhow. I got a date. Me and Miss D.
You don't say.
She's so sweet. Really gets me, you know?
Driving on this shit is already crazy.
Yeah, this is it. Come on, V. Find me once Vic's done dusting your circuits. We'll hash out what Dex has cooked up for us.
You are not the masters of your memory. For your eyes. Not oh.
Hey, V. Dr. Vector will see you now.
I'll sit tight over here. Me and Misty got a little catching up to do.
You look pleased.
About to tear her ass up.
Vicky, surprise every old ripper. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Pete. Oh, wow. What do I owe the pleasure today?
Last gig. Had to jack into a client's neuro socket. Think I might have gotten spiked.
Experiencing migraines, nausea, hypersensitivity to bright lights?
They're like
All kit and
cyborgs,
caboodle.
so it keeps popping up
All
with
right,
the
kid.
warning symbol at
We'll
the top
sort
saying
you out in a
system
flash.
failure.
Besides that,
Since
how
it's
are
in the
things?
future, I guess them getting sick is like getting a virus or something. Like, look, it's letting me give the option to upgrade.
Need some new kit, but tools, not toys, Vic. Time I bumped up my sights and got a grip.
Really? Now? Finally?
Vic, shit's getting real. Got a job from Dex to Sean, hitting the major leagues. Need tech that can perform.
The Dexter Deshawn? Well, that is something. But let me guess. Hasn't paid you yet.
Quit crying, Vic. I'll bring you the Eddies later, with interest. You know I will.
Last time. You hear? Chair, please. Sit down and relax. Kuroshi Optics. Best I've got, and should be about right under the circumstances. Now jack in. You peruse and choose while I scan. See what's going on inside.
What the hell? That's supposed to be his, like, you probably can't even see this shit. Hold on. I mean, it's only 7 people watching, which is cool, but they got it where you could, like, pretty much set up his whole body. And I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to cook or nothing. Oh, peruse and choose, he said. So you get to pick where you want to upgrade on your skeleton, arm, leg, nervous system, frontal cortex. Possible replacements. They done made this shit hard as hell. Oh, available, okay. So he changed something on his hand. again, this shit. I don't know. Okay, so what the fuck? I'm about to shut this shit off, but I can't figure out how to get the hell back out of here. Oh, it's like it froze. Well, it's in the part where I couldn't figure out, so it's so new to me, all these games. When I left, I was still playing a PlayStation 3. I mean, it's cool, these games are really cool, but some of them confuse the shit out of me, you know? I don't understand
Your future is at your fingertips. Take advantage of the flexibility and diversity.
Welcome to the strange and scary mysteries of the month for October 2023. This is where we find the craziest stories from around the world and pack them into this one episode. If you like it, remember to subscribe. We have a wide range today. Here are the strange and scary mysteries of the month for October 2023. Number 5, Charlotte Cena. Saturday, September 30th is a typical family camping trip.
Skinwalkers.
Chad.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. You know, I always say we're going to have a good one here, we're going to have a good one there, but this is probably a good one because I know this dude personally, man. In fact, he was one of my cellies when we were locked in the hole for a while at USP Lee. You know, he went to jail as a young man, went through a lot of shit in prison, was not an easy place. He's seen a lot of shit. And being that he was from Texas, things probably weren't always easy for him. But I'm going to bring Jimmy on the show and let Jimmy tell you who he is and where he's from. Jimmy, tell the people who you are, man, and where you're from.
My name's Jimmy Blow. I'm from Texas. I grew up there, was raised there. Pretty much grew up in a little town. And,
I remember that shit like yesterday. I took out 100,000.
Man, they was fucking
Okay, we back in
smoking
Ohio.
everybody.
Y'all
These
definitely
dudes
showed
right
me.
here in the joint for being a part of that shit. They was
Okay,
ruthless.
we-
That was like the most ruthless gang right there.
I've got a massive package, mate.
Hell no. That's not cool.
The Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan Experience.
More food, more drinks, more shopping. More parking. More greenery.
Yeah, I know. I was, and then I shut it off. That shit was pissing me off. What up, though?
Nate?
I was
found this.
playing the game.
Wait, this
Cyberpunk 2077,
Well, sis-
but it was annoying the fuck
The
out
Joe
of me.
Rogan Experience.
I mean, I think it's because I'm stoned for real. That's probably what it is. I ate some edibles earlier. I made some cheesecake and I made some butter and I ate it. And I don't know. It's like the sixth time I played that game though, and I sat down and tried to figure out. And it makes you do the most intricate stuff with your character. Like you gotta, and it's all these slots that pop up on the screen, and you gotta like take things and drag them and buy this and sell this. I never really did like games like that, but they, you know, where you got like a big ass inventory or a backpack and all these different, I don't know, so I'm gonna try it again tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm just chilling, watching something. I don't even blame people if they don't want to stay in this live, because I'm probably just one of the most boring live sessions on here right now. I would play GTA though if it will, or UFC, but I think I gotta, yeah, I gotta. And Red Dead, I put the disc in it. It downloaded, but for some reason it won't start up. Do got Prime Video. Forgot I even have this. just want to see what they got on here for real.
You have any idea what's going on out there? We'll find out soon enough.
This movie is brought to you with limited interruptions.
I am gonna start another one in a minute, so it don't say I'm playing a game. And I'm not. Somebody just called me on it. But they was like, man, what are you doing? You're supposed to be playing the game.
I'm excited to see how they
Yeah, I'm just fucking fried right now.
right on the money. Versus Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Firing downfield touchdown. Straight Thursday night football. Rams, 49ers at 7 p.m. Eastern, home on Prime.
It's crazy. I done turned this fucking ratchet ass basement into my little area and shit. Yeah, I got a P4 down there too, but I ain't never played it yet. I don't know, I guess I might watch this.
I want to be traded.
I need to start a new live to do that. I don't know, there's 6 people in here, but like, yeah, fuck it.
Oh, sorry. So mad.
Ain't no big deal. I just didn't want to say something on the caption and then be doing something.
No biking in the video.
Here.
That makes sense.
Oh, gosh. All right.
How's everybody's night doing, though?
Dad, why are you so What's the matter?
The fuck is this? It said it was something about the world had some type of apocalyptic ending and people was trying to survive, but that didn't look like it. See, I got all the streaming shit upstairs. I need to go up there for being lazy. Terrifier. I never did watch those. Did you guys? Terrifier 2, 3. I did see this new Pet Cemetery though, Bloodlines. That was dope. I seen this in prison, 3 from Hell. They actually played it on the inmate movie channel that we have. Like there was a thing you could request movies and the captain would say yes or no, and then a few weeks later you would actually watch it. And they would air it on a certain channel, and you had cable on your TV, but you had to flip it to like channel 2 or 4, I can't remember. It would take you away from the cable and direct line to like the administration building, and they would play a certain movie at a certain time, but they'd play it like 3 times a day. So if you missed it, maybe you were at like a program or school or work, so you can go back and watch it about 3 times in one day. The next day they do the same thing, but it'd be all different shit. This is one of the most fucked up movies I ever seen right here.
We gotta break into this house, and all we have to do is steal this
VHS.
one.
There's 2 of them. I definitely ain't watching that shit right now. I just fucking keep hearing weird shit down here in the basement. Probably ain't nothing though. I'll be creeped out sometimes. We having a lot of weird shit happen at our house. Ain't nothing I can do, so I just go with the flow. fuck with this channel a little bit here, man. I got like 5, 7 channels I rotate that I like the most for different shit. For some for paranormal shit, some for true crime, mysteries, some for prison shit.
I've always enjoyed late night walks.
I got shows
There's
I
something
like
about the
for
stillness
glitching
that
the
makes
matrix
everything
and
feel
other
simpler.
shit.
I'm a welder by trade. Been doing it for over 40 years now. I live alone on a big farm. Just me and my dog Bosley. The house is too large for one person, but I never had the heart to downsize after my wife Maria passed away. My kids moved out years ago, and ever since cancer took her, it's just been me and Bosley. One night, after a long day in the shop, I decided to go for a walk. My property is pretty big, so just a single loop is usually enough to satisfy my craving. The air was cool, and Bosley trotted along beside me. Sometimes I think he likes me more than I like him. I've walked that loop hundreds of times, but as I was heading back toward the house, something caught my eye. I glanced up at the second-story window, the one that looks out from the bedroom Maria and I used to share. For a split second, I thought I saw something move. I stopped dead in my tracks, staring up at that window. There was no reason anyone should be in there. I hadn't been in that room in years, couldn't bring myself to. I felt my blood start to boil at the thought of some stranger breaking into my house. I wasn't going to stand for that. I rushed inside, my heart racing, and ran upstairs. The room was empty, just like I'd left it. No sign of anything out of place. I looked everywhere imaginable, but found nothing. Yes, I was pretty freaked out, but I was more angry than anything. I didn't take this kind of thing lightly. I figured I had just seen something that wasn't there. I stood there for a while, feeling foolish, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had been there. The next night, I woke up to Bosley growling. He's a good dog, never barks unless there's something to bark at. I sat up in my bed, listening. That's when I heard creaking coming from upstairs. It could have just been the sounds of my old house, but my mind went directly to footsteps,
in the attic.
which
I
were
hear
coming
shit
from
up
right
in the
above
attic
me.
all the time.
I'm sure you could guess which room is directly above mine. I debated grabbing my hunting rifle from downstairs, but didn't want to go that far. If it came down to it, I was fully confident
But
that I
didn't
could
wanna
take
go
whatever
that
was
far.
up there hand to hand. I grabbed my flashlight and went to check. Again, nothing. The room was
You got some
exactly the same,
confidence, huh?
untouched. My anger was definitely starting to turn into anxiety at this point.
Deal with the threat.
Something didn't feel right in the house. The following night, I came downstairs to find the kitchen lights on. I know I turned them off before bed. I don't leave lights on. There was no question anymore. Someone was in my house. I started to panic. I called the police and told them I thought someone might be sneaking around. They came out, searched the house from top to bottom, but found nothing. They were nice about it, told me to call again if I needed them, but I could tell they didn't believe me. The next night was the worst by far. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to go upstairs and check the bedroom again. I don't know why. Maybe I thought it would settle my mind. But when I opened the door, I froze. There were clothes scattered all over the floor. Maria's clothes. I had packed them away after she died. Now they were everywhere. Something like this doesn't just happen randomly. And then I saw her. There was a woman standing in the doorway, just staring at me. I couldn't see her face clearly, but I could tell she wasn't Maria. She was too short. I don't know who she was, but she didn't belong there. I had never been so afraid in my life. Without thinking, I ran at her. She turned and bolted down the stairs and out the front door. By the time I got outside, she was gone. I searched the property with Bosley, but there was no trace of her. I didn't sleep that night. For months after that, I couldn't sleep.
She wants to
I
know
was
why the hell
constantly
you're
on
living
edge,
at her house.
convinced I heard footsteps upstairs at night. Every little noise set me off. I slept with my rifle next to my bed, terrified that I'd have to use it one night. Every little noise set me off. I debated calling my brother to come stay with me, but I wasn't going to do that. I was raised to always handle my own shit, so that's what I did. The nightmare didn't end, though. One night, I was sitting in the living room when I noticed a figure standing in the yard, looking straight at me through the window. It was her again. My heart felt like it stopped. I grabbed my hunting rifle and ran outside, Bosley close behind. She was still there, just a silhouette in the moonlight, watching me. I fired a few warning shots into the air, hoping to scare her off. That was enough to get her to turn and run into the darkness. But it's not like that made me feel any better. I was literally being tormented by some random woman who was probably homeless. I couldn't even imagine why this was happening to me. I stood there for a long time, waiting to see if she'd come back. She never did. I haven't seen her since, but I know it's only a matter of time. I'm fully prepared to defend myself, but I don't think living in perpetual anxiety like this is sustainable. Thank God for Bosley. I have no idea what I'd do without him. I'll send an update if anything happens.
I feel that. I love my dog. He's such a good boy too. My dog, he's very protective. He lives to protect me and my family. He loves it. Like he'll jump up at every sound and just run to the window, look out, or stand by the door and listen. And if he hears something the second time, he'll just start growling. And he'll look at me and growl and look at me and like he's letting me know like I got this, Dad, don't worry. He's a good boy. And when people come to the crib, I either gotta put him like calm him down, or if you don't like people, we gotta put him up. But if someone comes in, I have to like pet him and tell him it's okay. They have to smell he has to smell the people, and he has to see me like embrace them, whether it's like a handshake or give him a hug or just say something to him and in a certain manner, and that calms him down. If we don't do that, he's like sketched out
Not at all
of
what I thought I'd be doing with my life. By the time I get home, I'm either so wired from caffeine that I can't sleep, or I pass out the second I hit the bed and stay that way for 12 hours. I was driving back home one night at like 2 a.m. It was nice to be driving my own car again. As I was approaching my house, I realized I had probably had one too many Red Bulls, and there was no way I'd be able to sleep. On top of that, I hadn't eaten in hours and I was starving. There's a McDonald's right off the highway about 10 minutes from my house. It's usually my first choice when it comes to late night snacks since it's just so convenient. I'm not even one to gorge myself on fast food. I just occasionally get this weird craving that only a handful of fries can satisfy. It's obviously 24/7, and I figured some comfort food would be the perfect thing to help me wind down. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was definitely after 2 by the time I pulled into the drive-thru. There were a few cars ahead of me, which I was actually kind of surprised by. It's not like this McDonald's was a busy spot at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. As I was sitting there impatiently, I found myself staring off into space, wondering what was taking so long. That's when I noticed something strange. There was an old, beat-up Volkswagen with its windows tinted backed into a spot in the very corner of the lot. The McDonald's itself was only accepting drive-thru orders at this hour, so it did make sense why there'd be a car in the lot. There were reserved spots on the other side for employees, so it couldn't have been one of them. I figured it was maybe just someone eating in their car, which it probably was. I myself did that from time to time, so I guess I couldn't judge. It was just an odd sight, to be completely
Hope everybody's
honest.
having a good night, though.
I got my food and
Chilling
started
on
driving
Saturday,
away.
huh?
I didn't want to go home just yet.
I
but
love
I also
the
didn't want to
weekend.
just sit there idling
I
in
go
my
back
car.
to work till Monday.
I began racking my brain, trying to think of a good place to scarf down the food. I live in a pretty lush area, so there's honestly a lot of options. But I didn't want to beat around the bush too much, considering how late it was. There's a massive nature preserve literally down the street from my house. It's situated on a mountain and is essentially just an enormous forest. The kicker is that there's a scenic lookout point at the peak with a view of the city. There's a road that loops around the perimeter of the preserve and will take you right to the peak, which is nice during the day. After the preserve closes, though, the road is inaccessible to cars, but still a convenient path to get to the peak without having to walk through any woods. I used to go there with...
I'm gonna pick this show, this channel, but it's a different...
From this forest. The kicker is that there's a scenic lookout point at the peak with a view of the city. There's a road that loops around the perimeter of the preserve and will take...
New house, horror
Time to suit up. Half zip, quarter zip, and sacrifice your body. Because no matter how hard you football, it's easy to stumble.
This is one of my favorite topics that I've covered in the past. New house stories in which unsuspecting people who just moved into their new homes discover something or perhaps someone that shouldn't be there. But before getting into those, I want to thank DraftKings for sponsoring this video. DraftKings is an online, real money casino.
I like this little stand thing we got for the phone, though. It makes it a lot easier. This thing, It's like a fucking, you know, you just adjust it and shit and move it. But
DraftKings can be your home
yeah,
casino
it's
for
got
the
like a
holidays.
swivel on it. It
With
makes
the
it
real
so
money
much
casino
easier
fees
if I
right at
want
your
to record
fingertips,
some shit.
in the comfort of your living room by the Christmas tree and fireplace. Choose from over 300 real money games, slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer games. With more real money games added regularly, DraftKings Casino is changing the game with new ways to play.
What's up, Fries?
DraftKings is safe, secure, and
What
reliable.
up?
And if it's not yet
I'm
available
just
in your
chilling,
state,
watching some
check out
shit. I'm
DraftKings
kind
Daily
of baked out of
Fantasy
my
app, where
mind.
you
I
have a
ate
shot
some
at winning
edibles.
cash prizes all season long.
Just
Head to
chilling.
the DraftKings
I
Casino
was
app
playing
right
the
now.
game
Sign up using promo code Mr. Nightmare. And when you play just $10,
earlier,
you'll instantly
Cyberpunk
receive
2077.
$100 in casino credits.
Somebody called me on my shit. They was like, "What's up, man? You supposed to be playing the game?" Oh yeah, you see it. It's right there.
This happened a few years ago.
How's your night
but
though?
it
Your
still
weekend?
gives me an
and shit? I
unsettling
remember
feeling
you from
whenever
the
I
other
think
day.
about it.
You was
The
one
only
of the
reason I'm talking about
ones
it
that
now
was
is because I feel like it's been long enough since it happened. I
talking
won't
shit
risk
to
anything
that
by putting it on the
troll
internet.
when they started trying to talk
Back
negative
then,
on my
my
live.
wife and I had just moved into the suburbs from the
appreciate
city. We just had our third kid, and between the baby stuff, the toys, and the general chaos, our apartment felt way too cramped. We found a nice house in a quiet, safe neighborhood. The neighbors described it as the kind of place
Down
where
here
you
in my
feel fine
creepy
leaving
ass
the doors
fucking
unlocked.
basement.
The house itself wasn't massive, but it was definitely a step up from the tiny space we'd previously been living in. One of the features that caught my wife's eye was the backyard. It had this beautiful,
Right.
slightly
But that's
overgrown
cool,
garden
though.
with a few old
But yeah,
statues
you
scattered
were,
around.
sure.
They were weathered, a little eerie looking,
That
like
was
something
dumb
out of
as
Game
hell.
of Thrones.
And
I know
thanks
it
for the
sounds
likes,
weird,
y'all.
but my wife and I loved it. Said it gave
I
our yard
appreciate
character.
even just
I was
a
pretty
little bit of
indifferent,
likes.
so I left everything as it
means a lot
was,
to me.
statues and all. I figured it was less work for me, which I was never going to complain about. A few days after we moved in, I was looking out the window, taking in the yard, when I noticed something odd. One of the statues,
made a video
an angel I think,
Today
was
I'm talking
facing away
about
from the
telling people
house.
that they could,
All
if
the
they want
others
to
were
come
facing
start
toward
telling
us,
their stories
so
and
it
shit
looked
on our
strange.
channel, I'll let them.
I could have sworn they all
Or
faced the same
send it,
direction,
or send
but I
it
didn't
in,
really know
and
for sure.
I'll narrate.
I didn't think much of it, and just assumed I was misremembering things. The next morning, I looked out the window again, and that's when I noticed it. Another statue had turned around, again facing away from the house. This time, I knew something was up. I had never been more sure about anything in my life. I asked my wife about it, but she just shrugged it off and said she
The
hadn't
whole myth
noticed
behind
anything.
that is the
I thought
gargoyles
maybe
do
it was
that
my son
shit.
Jimmy. He was a little prankster back then, always up to something. But when I asked him, he just looked at me like I was nuts. I doubted he'd do something like that anyway.
You
I
know
knew
what?
something was going.
I used to like watching, and I know they probably still got them, like years ago before I went to prison. 2016, 2017, something like that. I know they got them on here. It'd be like, Tinder stories or some shit. Tinder. Like horror stories of people meeting up. And like you go to meet them and find out it's a fucking serial killer or some shit. Like dating
I'll never
app
forget
shit,
the first
where
time I used
you think
Tinder.
you're talking to
It was
somebody and find out it's
2015
like a
during
fucking
winter break when
psychopath.
everyone was back home
I
from
heard
college.
one time and it
I
scared the shit
figured
out
since
of
I
me.
didn't have a girlfriend and didn't have much going on, why not try the app that everyone was talking
But I
about?
used to use that
It was
shit,
like
man.
8 or 9 p.m. on a Thursday night, which was peak hours in terms of activity for the app. I downloaded the app onto my phone, and it was time to set up my profile. I spent a good 10 minutes browsing through my photo albums and found 4 flattering photos of myself that I thought would catch people's attention. I wasn't really experienced with the whole witty, funny Tinder bio thing that guys are apparently supposed to do. So I just wrote a few things about myself, like that I was 6 feet tall, played hockey at Penn State, and loved to work out. I swiped right for pretty much everyone just to see how many people would right swipe me back. I got through the given 100 likes quicker than I even expected, and didn't get a single match. My self-esteem was now completely in the toilet. I always thought of myself as really good looking, so I didn't understand how nobody could have liked me back. After waiting forever for some kind of notification to come up on my screen, I was considering just deleting the app to save my self-esteem. But finally, a single vibration from my phone, along with the message, "Congratulations, you have a new match," popped up on my phone. Overly excited, I went back into the app and saw that I had matched with the most gorgeous girl I'd seen on the app. She had 4 photos as well, one in a bikini with a friend, one with 2 girls kissing her on either cheek, one with her leaning on a brick wall, and one that appeared to be taken at a college frat party. She was 20 years old, just like me, and she went to Syracuse University. I messaged her just a plain old hey with a smiley face. 10 seconds later, she responded, "Hey cutie." I took a minute to think of something smart to say. Eventually, I wrote something about her sorority and that I had a friend in the same sorority.
What the fuck do I keep hearing?
At my school or something lame like that. She responded really quickly again, this time saying, "OMG, that's so cool," and then a smiley face. I was typing my response when she sent another message saying, "You're so cute and so close. What are you doing tonight?" At this point I was excited and thought this app was easier than I thought it would be. I responded quickly saying, "Just watching Elf, you know, pretty exciting stuff." She replied back saying, "OMG, no way, me too. You should come over and we can watch it together," and then a winky face. I told her I was down and asked for her number. She gave it to me quickly, and I waited a minute before texting her just so I wouldn't seem desperate. When I texted her, the message was sent as a text message, indicating this person wasn't using the iMessage app. I said hey once again. She replied, "Hey, come now," and then pasted an address. The address was 5 miles from my house, or 10 minutes, which wasn't bad at all. I told her I'm on my way. Before leaving, I told my mom I was going out and left. The address was on the quieter side of town, not necessarily a nice kind of quiet. I pulled up to the house. It had a decent location privacy-wise. Across the street were one of those huge pieces of land surrounded by trees that was dug out deep to collect water during rainfall, and the neighboring houses were kind of spaced out. A red flag went off in my head when I noticed 2 cars in the driveway. I texted her saying I was there, and she replied, "KK, go around back, the front door is loud." I replied, "Are your parents home or something?" But she didn't answer this time. I got out of the car and slowly walked around the house, noticing there was no fence to separate the front yard from the back. There was a window on the side of the house, and as I passed it, I realized there was an opening in the blinds. Someone was holding it up. But as soon as I noticed, the blinds fell back into place. I texted her again, saying, "Was that you at the window?" No response. This was a little creepy now. I continued walking slowly to the backyard, thinking that I could hear sounds coming from back there. For example, the brief sound of a yard chair scraping against the concrete. I became so nervous to turn that corner into the backyard that I froze at the edge of the brick wall, and just ever so gradually poked my head around the corner to see if anyone was in the backyard. As far as I could tell, nobody was back there. So I walked to the back door. It was a really old sliding glass door, so I could partially see into the house. Another thing I realized just then that raised more red flags: not a single light was on in the house. You know what, I told myself I'd text her one more time, and if she didn't respond, I was out of there. I took out my phone and texted her, saying, "I'm at the back door, where are you?" She responded within 10 seconds, saying, "Come in." I wasn't comfortable entering that house. I decided to call her for the first time, but after entering the number, the screen said "Text Now audio call." Text Now is one of those iPhone apps that allow you to use a fake phone number for calls and texts. That meant this whole time, whoever this was using a fake phone number. However, the most disturbing part of this was when I heard the sound of a ringtone coming from right behind the glass door, as if somebody were leaning against the wall, hiding. And now as I looked more closely into the house, I could see the glow from a phone screen right next to the door, which confirmed that somebody was hiding there. I didn't run. I tried to draw as little attention as possible by simply walking back around the house in the opposite direction I came from to avoid being seen through the door. When I was out of possible view, I ran full speed to my car and drove home.
Hell no.
I didn't check my texts until I got back home. I had 15 new messages waiting for me, about 12 of them asking where'd you go, why'd you leave, come back, and so on. The last 3 were more disturbing though. The first of the last 3 messages said, "I'm not actually a 20-year-old girl, but I'm sure you figured that out by now." The next one was, "No laws were broken, LOL, good luck." And the last one was, "I know exactly what you look like and I have your number." I blocked his fake number and went to report and unmatch him on Tinder, but he had already done that. The whole thing was something straight out of a nightmare, but luckily I never got any calls or texts from anyone suspicious, and I was able to forget about it quickly. I've used Tinder a few times since then, but just for fun. I've never actually made an effort to go out and meet anyone from the...
Whoa.
the app ever again.
That was kind of creepy.
I was on Tinder a few months ago when I was bored. I wasn't looking for anything in particular. Definitely not a relationship, though. Just one of those times to see who swiped me for fun and having pointless chats. Plus, there was always that chance that a girl would be down to meet up for the night and, you know, maybe I'd get lucky. That didn't happen this night, though. I was the opposite of lucky. My first 20 or so swipes were full of matches. I sent corny pickup lines to a few of them that I found attractive. However, there was one girl who messaged me first. Her name was Michelle. She was a 23-year-old blonde. She was a solid 9 out of 10, almost unrealistically attractive. So the fact that she said hey first was pretty intoxicating, and I was a little intoxicated quite literally already. She was close, too. And eventually things were going so smoothly that I decided to try and be ballsy and turn the conversation sexual. That went smoothly as well. So I escalated things even more by getting her number, and then texting her to try and set something up that same night. To my surprise and delight, she seemed really willing, but she wanted to meet out somewhere and hang out first before going back to her place. I was fine with that, and so she seemed to take charge and set up a time and place to meet. She said she wanted to hang in a small park by her house first at 10 o'clock. It was a little odd, but I was down. I literally counted the minutes until around 9:45 when I decided it was time to leave. Before leaving, I sent a quick confirmation text, and she said she was still down to meet. The drive to this small residential park was maybe 10 minutes, so I got there a little early. I walked over to the swing set, the exact point where she wanted to meet. I didn't want to let her know I was early because I thought that might make me seem needy or anxious. So I waited until exactly 10:02 on the dot to text her saying I was there. This was when she stopped responding. 10:05, 10:10, sitting there waiting with no response. Of course, at first I figured she was driving and couldn't check her phone. But as the minutes passed, that idea started to become less realistic, and the idea that she flaked was becoming more realistic. The playground area was surrounded by trees. In fact, this whole park was very woodsy. And having been a weeknight, nobody was out and about at this time. So honestly, it was kind of creepy sitting in that park alone. The only reason I could see was because of the motion detecting light mounted onto the small bathroom shack. In one direction, the park turned to complete woods for miles, while in the other direction, beyond a few trees, was the neighborhood road. I was sitting on the swing, pushing back and forth in boredom and disappointment. When I froze, the sounds of the squeaky metal swing chains stopped, allowing me to hear something echo out from the little bathroom shack. It sounded like, you know, a typical sound you'd expect to hear from inside one of those bathrooms. Like somebody pressing down on the handle of the paper towel dispenser or something like that. What I'm trying to say, it sounded intentional, meaning someone might have been in there. Now this wouldn't be a completely strange thing. After all, it's a public park. Only I would have thought that they would lock the bathrooms up at this hour. And who else would actually be in this tiny park at 10:15 on a weeknight? Then I suddenly felt a vibration in my pocket. So excited, I whipped out the phone and saw a new text from Michelle. The text said exactly this. Hey, just got here. Come into the bathroom. I have a surprise for you. My heart dropped as I read this. I felt butterflies in my stomach. Not like an innocent nervousness, more like a disturbed and freaked out feeling. My thumbs were hovering over the phone as I was conjuring up something to type in response. Then she sent another text saying, "Get off the swing and come here." As I read the text, I looked up to the tiny bathroom building and opened my mouth, almost ready to scream, when I saw half of a person's face peering out from the entrance from one of the bathrooms, leering over to me on the swing. Only for maybe half a second did I actually see a good portion of their face, though, because they slowly moved out of sight. To be honest, in the heat of the moment, I couldn't even tell if it was a male or female. But I knew something bad was going on, and I knew I was disturbed as hell by this situation. So I got off the swing quietly and tiptoed away from the playground. When I was far enough away, I ran for it back to my car. That run back to my car itself was one of the most horrific experiences of my life, because I had the constant fear of somebody chasing me in the back of my mind. As soon as I locked my car, I was able to pause for a breather. But up until that point, nothing compared to the gut-wrenching fear that I felt when I took one last look into the park and saw a grown man emerge from the trees, running towards my car. I turned the key in the ignition and practically threw the car in drive before it was even fully started. When I was halfway down the road and looked back, there was nobody in the street. When I pulled into my driveway, I sat there for 10 minutes, thinking and reflecting. I felt like I had become a changed person at that moment, like I knew what it truly felt like to appreciate life after having my life threatened. I deleted my Tinder account and then deleted the app. I didn't tell any of my family members besides my older brother. I've had a girlfriend for the past 2 months, so luckily, I don't even have to think about using that app anymore.
I will destroy your planet.
Who's the new guy?
With Shadow's power,
We can rule humanity. Sonic 1, Concrete Boulder 0.
Sonic 3, rated PG, December 20th.
Y'all probably don't want to watch this no more, but good looking for the likes. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get back on here tomorrow when I'm not blazed. Stay safe, stay free. God bless. Good night, y'all. YouTube people. I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow.